All right, what's up, everybody? So we are back with Max Reader today. You know, just a brief introduction of Max. Max is a old friend of mine, and just a really phenomenal healer. Arguably the best healer that I know. Super articulate, super intelligent, super knowledgeable guy. Yeah, just Max recently started training with Master Zhou and stuff like that. So I'm really excited to hear his experience and like what his like future plans are and stuff like that. By incorporating this training into his lifestyle and stuff like that. So yeah, Max. Yeah. So how did you get in touch with Master Zhou to begin with?
Um, mm, so there's a school called Neigong based in Italy, and this is one of it's probably Master Zhou's longest standing Western student, Constantino. It's been
Yeah.
training with him, I think, for 10 years. And so their school was organizing a trip to China to go see him, basically. And my teacher, Alex, passed me on the information for the trip. And the video was pretty cool. It showed him like setting fire to stuff with his hands and magnetizing metal particles and um, obviously doing chi injections with people and electrically shocking people. Some of it was like causing the lights to flicker and things like this. Um, and also he does demonstrations of hard qigong. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, where the fingers will like concentrate all of this chi into two fingers and just punch through granite with two little fingers. And so yeah, this was I thought that it was pretty interesting. And so what's really ended up being interesting, I came out here, is that he's an extremely skilled healer. He's very scientific. He's not particularly spiritual, maybe spiritual in the Western sense, but for China, it's a certain amount of spirit is just science, and so he's very scientifically minded, and he just sees everything as just like cause and effect, and there's no incurable diseases. Everything can be balanced through Chinese medicine. And so it's just very practical and very like, oh, if there's a block here, you need to open the block so energy can move. Once you remove all the blocks, everything works, whether it's mental illnesses or any kind of physical imbalances. So it's really a respectable attitude. And so I thought it was cool because he was demonstrating that he's got some decently high level of energy development. But then it's been much better because he's our system we have a spiritual organization in Texas called Inner Healer Qigong, and whereas the lowest level attainment in most Qigong systems is the healing all diseases. In my travels around the world and meeting students of different schools, I keep finding these students that have been training in their systems for years, and they still have significant diseases. They still have they still have a lot of physical problems. And for me, it's one of the simplest things to get rid of is all of your physical imbalances. That should be like the first thing that gets eliminated in a path of cultivation. So even though some veterans of some qigong or the Neigong, for example, that have been studying for many years might laugh at our system, I think that it's very much needed in the West. I think it's very much needed in America. And so the system, Inner Healer Qigong, is primarily focused on healing all conditions and diseases that are imbalances in the body. In and out. I think what you said was what is the name of his system?
Yeah. Can you hear me now? Yeah.
Yeah. So he doesn't have a name system, I don't believe. For him, it's just Neigong.
Okay.
And he does come from I think it's Yuan Pei. I'm still learning Chinese. I don't know the pronunciations of these things very well, but I think that his lineage is Yuan Pei. It's a subsect of the Dragon Gate lineage, and he started training in a temple when he was 5 years old, and now he's 63. So he's had a lot of time to cultivate. but I don't think that he calls it a specific name. To him, it's just Neigong, which is also very interesting.
Yeah, certainly. I hate to make comparisons and stuff like that. But by the way, can you hear me okay, Max?
Yeah.
Okay, so I really hate to make comparisons and stuff like that, but the guy to my from my perspective, my right, yeah. So like I have a John Chang poster next to me and stuff. Sorry, man, this bad connections, yeah, horrible.
So
I had
I heard you say you're not liking to make comparisons, and then this poster, John Chang to your right, you just want to see like where does he compare?
Yeah. Let me make it short. Yeah. So, are they? Is Master Zhou and Master John Chang? Like, are they? Do you think their abilities are similar?
Yes, I think that they're. I've seen the videos of him too, and it seems to be like almost exactly the same, the stuff that they're working with. They're working with a lot of yang qi, this electric qi, this hot qi, and John would also do acupuncture treatments. The Fa Chi treatments, it's called Fa Chi, like directed or launched energy, can feel like a very strong electricity. It works without anything, but it works much better if you use needles first to open up the acupoints that are blocked.
Awesome. Okay.
And he would do the same thing Cheng would.
You mentioned to me, I believe, on a live stream about a week ago, or maybe I can't remember the exact time, but you were saying that you're going to be able to do the Fa Chi in about a year or so with this training. Am I correct on that?
It'll probably take about that long. Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Probably take about a year. Because it's a specific type of cultivation, so even if you've been meditating a lot before, it's a certain type of chi that you need to build up. And most of what I've been doing up until now has been very Wu Wei. It's been very like heart-centered and without any kind of forcing, which I think is really the ideal way to train, in my opinion. But for this specific type of chi to be generated, it takes pressurization. It takes a lot of pressurization, and using like and even when he's emitting it, he's going so it takes a certain amount of pressurization over months and months and maybe years to cultivate that level of energy to where it's physical.
Like a Master Jang, unfortunately died from projecting too much yang energy out of his body and stuff like that. He was doing too much pressurization, if you will. Has Master Zhou talked about perhaps like the dangers of doing Fa Chi, and has he addressed like any dangers and negative effects of some of those?
This is the guy who died. I didn't realize that. Okay. Because Master Zhou had told me about another teacher that was doing similar things and that died. So I'm just now making the connection that it was the same, that it was this guy that everybody knows from the internet. Wow, interesting. Okay.
I'm sorry, I interrupt you. John Chang died as well, but I was referring to Master Jang. He was a different guy. I thought you knew him, but yeah.
I think do you mean Zhang?
Share screen real quick.
Yeah. No, Master Zhang was the guy that had a heart attack while he was giving a treatment, right?
Yes. This gentleman right here.
Yes.
Yeah, this gentleman. Yeah.
Yes. So they were he and Master Zhou, I believe, were somewhat peers, but they had different branches of the training that they do. I don't know much about it other than what Master Zhou told me was that Master Jiang Feng was Buddhist, from a Buddhist lineage, and Master Zhou comes from a Taoist lineage.
Oh. Okay. Interesting. Yeah, it's just, it's just very interesting how there's like a Taoist Qigong and a Buddhist Qigong. I'm not sure what the differences are quite yet, but
I don't either, to be honest. I'm still learning a lot of this stuff. I'm especially in China, I feel like like totally lost.
Master Zhou spoke about the dangers of, projecting too much yang qi. Has he addressed that at all to you?
The only thing he said about it is it's important to practice every day.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, go ahead. You can drain yourself a lot.
Cool. Okay. So I mean, obviously, you don't have to go into the techniques. I'm sure, like, you have to pay to, gain the knowledge and stuff like that. But correct me if I'm wrong. But this system that works a lot with the lower Dantian. Am I correct on that?
Yes. It's not just the lower Dantian though, which is one of the really cool things I like about it. It's opening up the entire body. It's opening up all the channels in the body, basically, because everything needs to be very, very open in order for this energy to flow. If you have a part of you that's very blocked, it won't work. So the legs need to be open, the arms need to be open, the lower Dantian needs to be open, the middle Dantian needs to be open. I think maybe the upper Dantian doesn't matter so much here, but everything else, very important.
Max, so what are your plans as far as a energy cultivator, Qigong practitioner is concerned? You've obviously practiced many systems in the past, like Kunlun. I know you went to meet Master Li to practice Heavenly Essence and stuff like that. I've been recently interviewing a ton of practitioners that practice Heavenly Essence, thanks to Alex. But like, what are your plans? Like, are your plans, strictly to stick to the system of Master Zhou and doing the Fachi and Neigong and stuff like that, or do you plan on perhaps incorporating like Kunlun or Heavenly Essence? And maybe do you perhaps eventually plan on like releasing the Yansheng and stuff? What are your plans?
Yeah, well, I am in China right now, so.
Oh, is that it? Were you able to hear everything I said? Or
yeah, I heard everything you said. I'm in China right now, so there's a lot of censorship. Okay, what I was going to say is, I think that Master Zhou has one of the most interesting systems that I've seen specifically for healing. So I'm very interested in going deep with this lineage to learn as much as I can about the healing techniques. I am very interested in longevity, not because I want to live forever, but because I like the idea of optimizing the human body as much as possible. And so I will probably just continue to be open to experience whatever I find. One of the things that I would like to find in China, whether it's this year or in the next years, is to find an immortal who's several hundreds of years old or 1,000 years old. I have some interesting leads to follow, so I'm gonna investigate those and see what I can find. But I think it would be a really amazing experience to meet some immortals, even though it's not technically the highest level of spiritual attainment. It's still something that's very interesting because most people don't even consider it to be possible.
Those super underground like masters are out there that aren't even on the internet, right? I mean, that's so awesome to, it'd be so cool if you can meet one of those people, and you'll have to let me know if you meet them and stuff. Yeah, that'd be quite amazing. Yeah, that's so cool. I remember Max Christensen's interview where he talked about like meeting a guy who only had black. There was no white in his eyes, like no white in his pupil or something.
This is one of the guys that I'm talking about. He gave me very vague directions to find him, and so I guess that's just how he is. It's like he makes everything a treasure hunt because he's a treasure hunter himself. So there you go. So we'll see if I can find the needle in the haystack.
Oh, okay. Maybe you can like practice remote viewing or something for like doing like the coordinate remote viewing and stuff, and just try to locate the guy. Like that.
That's an idea, yeah. Or doing map dowsing on a map.
Yeah. No. You should totally do it, Max. So that'll be amazing if you can find this guy.
It was funny because I was when I was coming out to China, I was asking him about it. Is the connection bad? Whoa, wait.
I think we're good. Yeah.
Okay. When I was coming out to China, I was asking about it. I was like, "Hey, I know you've trained with immortals. Like, can you tell me anywhere to go?" And then he told me this. He told me like a vague area where I can look. And he's like, "Yeah, there's a monk there that's he's got jet black hair and black eyes, and he's been there for 1,000 years, or he's 1,000 years old, and he should still be there if the government hasn't killed him yet."
Wow, dang, that is wow, that is crazy. Yeah, Max, we've came a long ways. I mean, you've certainly made leaps and bounds in your knowledge and your finances and all areas of your life. Over the last since I've known you and stuff. But man, like it's just so crazy, isn't it? The rabbit hole just keeps getting deeper and deeper and deeper and stuff, and there's just so much to learn about this work, and just so many possibilities. And man, like it's just so interesting, isn't it? Like just when you think like, oh, I've learned it all, there's just like so much more out there. So yeah.
Life is pretty magic. I remember in college thinking like, oh, when you're a kid, life seems so magical, and when you're an adult, you realize it's not. But then part of unbecoming an adult is realizing that everything really is magical again. Everything is possible.
Yeah, certainly. Watching your posts and stuff, you were saying like, you look younger again and stuff like that. So do you feel like, by practicing Neigong, like, your health is like, being reversed and stuff, like you're reversing your age and all this kind of stuff? Or
Yeah, definitely. And it's not any Neigong system, because if you look at a lot of masters out there, that they're still looking very old. They're like practicing this stuff and they're still looking very old. So there's, I think, something missing, or maybe a lot missing from a lot of practitioners. Mm-hmm. And so that's one of the puzzle pieces that I'm interested in resolving for myself, so that I can teach as complete of a system as possible. Because I see, there's so many masters that are like losing their hair, and they have like papery skin, and they just don't look particularly vital, and really, if someone has a good system and a good embodiment, they should look much younger than they are.
Right.
So I'm interested in that. And what I've noticed in myself is so I've had an uneven hairline since I was a teenager. It comes from having an emotionally volatile household when you're growing up. And so on this side of my scalp, you can see it a little bit, but it's like it comes up higher. And what started happening since I came out to China, I don't know, you can see the baby hairs coming in, right? There's nothing on this side. On this side is full grown hairs, but on this side we have these new hair growth coming in. Also, some gray hairs that I've had for the last 3 years are starting to go away on the sides of my hair. The skin is so velvety smooth. It's crazy that the stuff the effects that this system has on your skin. It's really amazing. My heart is so much more open than I think it's ever been. Yeah, it's just like there's definitely a lot of longevity effects, and that's one of the things I find very interesting about this system. Also, Master Zhou and I went to get massages a couple weeks into the training, and I saw his skin all over his body, and he's just like, it's so smooth. Like you would never think that he's in his 60s, because it's like baby skin. And I was like, okay, so that's, to me, that raises an eyebrow. It's like, okay, he's doing something that a lot of teachers aren't. So what is that? I want to learn.
Yeah, certainly. Max, so do you have like a realistic plan on like, when you can attain like a very high level and stuff like that? Do you have any A to Z plans right now in your mind?
I'm open to however it happens, whenever it happens.
That's a great answer. Yeah, certainly.
Yeah, the main vision, I would say, is making Qigong a household practice and conversation in America and in the West in general.
That's amazing. Like Max, like when I first met you, you're very, I met a guy who I felt like, had the potential to become very charismatic, who's, you're obviously were very articulate and very intelligent already when I first met you and stuff. And, I had a feeling like, man, if this guy, can like, yeah, if this guy can like, put in the work, like he can really become somebody. And I certainly wasn't wrong, one of that. I felt that way when I first met you, and you certainly didn't disappoint. Like you certainly became like obviously a household, TikToker and stuff like that. But man, like I feel like, you're just getting warmed up. You're just getting started. Is there anything else that you can potentially share regarding, training with Master Zhou and stuff like that, or any kind of like, awesome discoveries regarding Qigong or Neigong and all this kind of stuff in general?
Mhm. One of the things, I think that it's you can always get more out of healings, whether you're any kind of modality you're doing, if you have a foundation of quantum healing and you know how to change your mind state, you know how to see everything that you experience as reflections of your transformations. Because if I had gone through these treatments and I didn't have a basis in like seeing that my external is my internal reflected, if I didn't have an understanding of that, it would have been either very ineffective or very destabilizing. Well, it was destabilizing. What would a worse word be? Very. It would have been really bad.
Yeah.
It would have either been like barely anything happened because I didn't allow myself to change, or my whole life would have been falling apart and I would have been freaking the fuck out. So I think it really helps to have a basis, like and this is one of the things I was talking about with Alex last night, and that he was mentioning like some teachers that he's trained with around the world that had like a lot of character flaws, let's say. And when you get more chi in the body, like everyone thinks they just want more chi. It's like, oh, if I had all this chi, I could heal everything, blah, blah, blah. But if you don't expand and grow your mind, then your mind cannot handle all the chi, and you'll get amplified character flaws and mental problems and all of the things that you have in little amounts right now. And you get a lot more chi. It's much more pronounced. It's much more obvious. It's much more unbalanced. So it's really important to expand the mind so that you can handle more chi in the body. And if you can't be willing to be wrong, if you can't be willing to be a student and feel like a beginner in everything that you do, then you'll have a very difficult time with this process.
I mean, we talked about your, like, how much success you've had with like growing your followers and stuff like that, and like how much abundance you brought into your life and stuff like that. Is it okay if we talk a little bit more about, money and like abundance and things like that, which is unrelated to Qigong? I was hoping to talk a lot about, Qigong and Neigong and stuff like that, but I feel like we covered a lot of it. So right now, what would you, if someone was seeking you, to seeking your mentorship to bring in more abundance into their lives, what would be your advice?
You're actively blocking yourself from receiving more.
Could you elaborate on that a little bit?
It's like your internal environment is going to be reflected in your external world all the time. So how much abundance you have right now is exactly matching how much you have internally. And we have so many programs about money, like maybe we feel guilty taking money from people, or maybe we are afraid of having more responsibility, more exposure. I was afraid of all of these things. Maybe you are afraid of making a lot of money and then you owe a lot of people, or people are going to come after you. And so, people have the same program about healing. They're very sick and they don't want to heal because they don't want to get sick again. They don't want to, get excited and then get disappointed. So there's many programs that we have that create this mental, emotional tension that lock us into certain money patterns. I first noticed this when I left the W-2 workforce and then started working online. And then I was capped at $4,000 a month, which was the same I was working when I was in the private sector, right, or whatever you call it, working as a W-2 employee. I was making $4,000 a month working for Samsung. I left Samsung. I started doing online work, also making $4,000 a month. I couldn't make more than that. It was a totally different industry, but like the level of money that my consciousness could accept was capped. And so it was something to, it was an interesting case study in how this stuff is all related to your mind.
Yeah.
You know, and
Yeah.
to be expansive with money, we need to be more expansive in leaving your comfort zone. You know, you need to be more willing to give value to people. You need to be more willing to, you know, have people, all the things that negatively comes with it. You know, the richest people in the world, they're hated by many people. So like, are you ready to be disliked by some and liked by others? And a lot of people, they want to be friends with everybody all the time. So they try to be safe and they try to say the right thing. It's like fake spiritual sugarcoating in the spiritual community, you see.
Yeah.
So then you won't stand out, and then people will like you, but they won't really love you.
Yeah, no, certainly. What you said at the end, that, you know, I take that to heart. You know, Alex has been, you know, really teaching me that a lot lately. Just you know, like, you know, don't sugarcoat stuff, and that's why I like Alex, because he's very blunt with me. You know, you know, he's just very straightforward, and that tells me, you know, how I need to change myself and stuff like that. Because I have a tendency to, you know, I think I believe that I still have a lot of, you know, mental blockages that I need to work through. So yeah, certainly. Yeah, well, you know, this was a very short interview, but, you know, I gained a tremendous amount of value today, you know, from you know, Max's experiences and stuff like that. I'm super grateful that Max, you know, took the time to, you know, tell me a lot about Master Zhou. Max, you know, I've been, you know, really detached from you for a long time, because I quit this interviewing work for like 2 years or so. Currently, your services are all on maxreader.com, and programs and all this kind of courses and yada yada. Okay, yeah, maxreader.com. Okay, yeah. Is there any other social media links that, you know, that I should share? Obviously, you're big on TikTok and stuff. Should I put your TikTok links and Instagram and all this kind of stuff? Or
Yeah, mostly I'm on TikTok. Other than that, maxreader.com is the best place to find me. It's reader is spelled Reeder. I have a podcast also that's just getting started. I kind of had to put it on pause coming out to China. I don't know if this signals out. But I have a podcast that we started also that I think it's gonna help this stuff reach a lot more people. And we do pretty much talk about whatever is coming up for the day in the podcast, and we also do like live psychic energy readings with people to help them get their health into better alignment, get their lives into better alignment. And yeah, that's all on my website.
I put them in the description, and we'll definitely do that. So yeah, sorry for the bad internet. You know, it's like I can't do anything about this. Typically, it's not like this at all. But man, maybe it's divine intervention, perhaps. So okay. Well, Max, yeah, thank you once again, and well, you know, until next time. So.
All right, brother. Yes, thank you, brother. Thank you. Have a great rest of your day, and it was nice talking to you.